Welcome. Before we start, I just want you to slow down for a moment. You don't need to focus too hard. You don't need to analyze every word. This isn't about studying English. It's about listening, about getting used to how English actually sounds. Think of this as everyday English, the kind of English people use when they're just living their lives. All right. One thing that surprises a lot of people is how simple real English actually is. Not basic, just simple. People don't walk around using complicated words all day. They reuse the same words again and again. What changes is the situation. For example, when something is clear, people don't say, "I completely understand the concept you're explaining." They say things like, "Got it." "I see." "Yeah, that makes sense." Sometimes they don't even finish a sentence. They just say, "Right." "Exactly." "True." That's enough. English conversations move fast. People don't wait for perfect sentences. Now think about how people talk about their lives. Most days aren't exciting, so the language reflects that. If someone asks how things are going, you don't usually give a long answer. You say, "It's going well." "Can't complain." "It's been okay." Can't complain is very common. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. It just means nothing is wrong enough to talk about. Another phrase you hear all the time is, "It's been busy." Busy can mean a lot of things. Work, life, stress, responsibility. You don't need to explain it. People understand. And notice how often people soften what they say. Instead of saying, "I am tired," they say, "I'm kind of tired." "I'm a bit tired." "I'm pretty tired." Those small words matter. They make English sound human. Now let's talk about hesitation. Native speakers hesitate all the time. They pause. They think while speaking. That's why you hear phrases like, "you know." I mean, let me think. For example, "I was thinking about it and I'm not really sure." That's not bad English. That's natural English. Silence is part of English too. Short pauses are normal. Now imagine you slightly disagree with someone. You don't usually say, "You are wrong." You say, "I'm not sure." "I don't know about that." "Maybe." Those words leave space. They keep the conversation relaxed. When you agree, you keep it short. "Yeah, exactly." "That's true." "For sure." "For sure" is extremely common. Now let's talk about daily actions. When people describe their day, they summarize. They don't explain every detail. "I woke up, got ready, went to work." That's it. They don't say, "I consumed breakfast." They say, "I ate something." "I grabbed a coffee." "I didn't really eat." Grabbed is everywhere in everyday English. "I grabbed lunch." "I grabbed something quick." Another very natural phrase is, "I didn't feel like it." "I didn't feel like cooking." "I didn't feel like going out." Now let's talk about emotions. People don't usually describe emotions in a dramatic way. They keep them general. Instead of saying, "I am extremely angry," they say, "I'm annoyed." "That bothered me." "I was a bit frustrated." Instead of saying, "I am extremely happy," they say, "That made my day." "I'm feeling good." "I'm really happy about that." Feeling good is very common. And one important phrase to understand is, "I'm fine." Sometimes it means fine. Sometimes it means, "I'm okay, but I don't want to talk about it." Context matters. Now think about ending a conversation. People don't end conversations abruptly unless they have to. They signal it slowly. They say things like, "Anyway," "All right," "Okay, so." These words prepare the ending. Then they say, "I'll let you go." "I should get going." "I'll talk to you later." And finally, "Talk soon." "Take care." "See you." Very simple, very natural. Now let's stay right here for a moment because this is where everyday English really starts to show itself. Those phrases sound small, they sound simple, but they're doing a lot of work. Everyday English is not about information, it's about comfort. It's about keeping things smooth. It's about not making things awkward. And once you understand that, English starts to feel easier. Think about how often people avoid being too direct. Instead of saying, "Tell me what you want," people say, "Let me know." That phrase shows up everywhere. Let me know what you think. Let me know when you get there. Let me know if anything changes. It sounds friendly. It sounds relaxed. It gives space. And that's a big part of real English, giving space. Another phrase that does the same thing is no worries. Someone says sorry. You say no worries. Someone thanks you. You say no worries. You're basically saying it's fine. Don't stress. You'll also hear all good. You're good. Same idea. Now let's talk about something that happens constantly in real life. Silence. Silence is normal in English. People don't always rush to fill it. Sometimes someone finishes talking and there's a pause. And that's okay. You don't need to panic. You don't need to say something just to say something. That pause is part of natural conversation. Now let's talk about small talk, because this is where many people feel uncomfortable. Small talk feels useless, but it has a purpose. It's not about what you say, it's about showing that you're friendly. So when someone says, "How's it going?" they're not asking for your life story. A normal answer is, "Good, you?" "Not bad." "Doing all right?" That's enough. If someone says, "What's up?" you don't need to think. You can say, "Not much." "Nothing much." Same old. Very normal. Now here's something important. Everyday English is repetitive. That's not a bad thing. That's what makes it easy. You'll hear the same phrases again and again in different situations. For example, "I'm good." That phrase alone can mean so many things. If someone offers you something, "No thanks, I'm good." If someone asks if you need help, "I'm good." If someone asks how you are, "I'm good." Same words, different meaning. Context does the work. Now let's talk about something that really makes English sound natural. Softening. English speakers soften almost everything. Instead of saying, "I want that," they say, "I kinda want that." "I might want that." "I'm thinking about that." Instead of saying, "Wait," they say, "Hold on, hang on, give me a sec." Especially on the phone, you'll hear, "Hang on. Hang on, I'll be right back." Now let's talk about agreeing and disagreeing, but in real life. In textbooks, people disagree clearly. In real life, they don't. Instead of saying, "I disagree," they say, "I'm not sure." "I don't know about that." "Maybe." Those words soften disagreement. And when people agree, they don't explain. They react. "Yeah, exactly. For sure." For sure is one of the most common everyday responses. Now let's talk about emotions, but the way people actually talk about them. People rarely say, "I am extremely angry." They say, "I'm annoyed." "That bothered me." "That was frustrating." They don't say, "I am extremely happy." They say, "That made my day." "I'm feeling good." "I'm really happy about that." And sometimes they don't even name the emotion. They say, "I don't know, it just felt off." Felt off is very common. Now, let's talk about planning, because this is a huge part of daily English. People don't always commit clearly. They say, "I'll see." "I'll let you know." "Maybe." If someone asks, "Are you free later?" you might say, "Maybe, I'll see." And another important word here is around. "Are you around later?" That means available. "I'll be around." That means free. Now something that confuses a lot of learners. I'll do it later. Sometimes it means later. Sometimes it means maybe never. You learn the difference with experience. Let's talk about everyday English when something is annoying. People don't say, "This situation is inconvenient." They say, "That's annoying. That's a pain. That's a hassle." A hassle is something annoying because it takes effort. Paperwork is a hassle. Waiting is a hassle. I don't want to deal with that. Very real phrase. Now, when life feels heavy, people don't explain. They say, "I've got a lot going on." It's been a lot. Those phrases are vague on purpose. They share the feeling, not the details. Now let's talk about everyday English at work. You'll hear phrases like "let me check," "I'll take a look," "I'll get back to you." Get back to you means respond later. If you're reminding someone politely, you say "just checking in." That's a soft reminder. Now let's talk about confusion. People don't say "I do not understand." They say "I'm lost." "I'm not following." "Wait, I'm confused." And if you want help, "Can you walk me through it?" That means explain step by step. Now let's talk about phone calls. On the phone, people say, "Can you hear me?" "You're breaking up." "I'll call you back." "I'll call you back" is very common. If something comes up, people say, "Something came up." That's a polite way to cancel or delay. Now let's talk about texting English. People say, "Sounds good." "Gotcha." "No rush." "My bad." Gotcha means "I understand." No rush means "take your time." My bad means "that was my mistake." Very common. Let's talk about social situations. If you see someone you haven't seen in a while, long time no see. "How have you been?" If you meet someone new, "nice meeting you." If you're leaving, "nice seeing you." Small phrases, big impact. Now here's something important. You don't need to use all of these phrases. You just need to recognize them. Fluency is mostly listening. The more you hear these patterns, the more natural English feels. Now let's slow down and do something practical. Imagine these situations. Someone bumps into you. You say, "My bad." "No worries." Someone suggests a plan. You say, "That works." "I'm down." Someone offers food. You say, "I'm good." "No thanks." Someone asks for an update. You say, "I'll get back to you." These moments happen every day. Now let's talk about time. People don't speak precisely. "I'll be there around 7. "I'll be there at like 7. "It'll take about 10 minutes. If you're late, "I'm running late." If you're coming, "I'm on my way." Now let's talk about one-word responses. "Sure." "Okay." "Right." "Same." These words carry a lot of meaning depending on tone. Same means "me too." Very casual. Now humor. Everyday English uses exaggeration. "I'm dying." "I'm dead." Not literal, just expressive. Understanding this is more important than using it. Now one thing that helps a lot. Repeating phrases out loud, not fast, not perfect, just natural. "I'll get back to you." "I'm down." That works. "No worries." Your mouth learns faster than your brain. Those kinds of phrases might seem small, but they're doing most of the work in everyday conversations. They help you react quickly. They help you sound relaxed. And most importantly, they help you avoid overthinking. A lot of people freeze in English not because they don't know what to say, but because they think they need to say something better. In real life, better usually means simpler. Think about how often people explain things without really explaining them. Someone asks you why you didn't do something, and instead of giving details, you say, "I just didn't get to it." That phrase is extremely common. "I didn't get to it yet." "I'll get to it later." It means you didn't have time, energy, or motivation. You don't need to explain which one. Another similar phrase is, "It slipped my mind." That means you forgot, but in a soft way. "Sorry, it slipped my mind." Very natural, very human. You'll notice that everyday English avoids strong responsibility words. Instead of saying, "I forgot," people often say, "It slipped my mind." "I didn't realize." "I didn't notice." These phrases reduce tension. They keep things smooth. Here's another pattern you hear constantly. People start sentences without knowing exactly how they'll end them. They say things like, "So yeah," basically, kind of. For example, "So yeah, I was thinking maybe we could just leave early." That sounds natural because it mirrors real thinking. You don't need to sound prepared. You need to sound present. Something else you hear a lot is people adjusting what they say mid-sentence. "I was gonna go, but actually, I think I'll stay." That's normal English. People change direction while speaking. They don't restart the sentence. They just adjust. Another thing that makes English feel real is understatement. People don't exaggerate serious things all the time. They downplay them. If something is really difficult, they might say, "It's not ideal." "It's a bit tricky." If something went wrong, they might say, "That didn't go as planned." That's much softer than saying, "It failed." And on the opposite side, when something goes well, people don't always celebrate. They say, "That went pretty well." "That worked out?" "Not bad." Not bad can actually mean very good. Tone matters. Another everyday habit is checking without pressure. Instead of asking, "Why haven't you replied?" people say, "Just wanted to check." Just following up. Just making sure. The word "just" softens everything. Just checking if you saw this. That's polite. That's normal. You'll also hear people use time as a cushion. Instead of saying, "I need it now," they say, "When you have a minute, when you get a chance, at some point today." These phrases give flexibility. Now let me say something important here. If you can handle these moments, you can handle most everyday English. Not debates, not presentations, just real life. Because most conversations are not about information, they're about flow. So when you listen to English, don't focus on vocabulary lists. Listen for how people avoid being direct, how they soften, how they leave space. That's where fluency lives. Before we wrap this up, I want you to notice something. Everything you heard today was simple. Nothing fancy, nothing academic. And that's the point. Everyday English isn't about sounding impressive, it's about sounding comfortable. If you can handle small moments, quick reactions, soft answers, and natural pauses, you can handle most real conversations. Because real life doesn't give you time to prepare sentences. It just keeps moving. So don't worry if you didn't catch every phrase. You're not supposed to. Your brain is picking up patterns, rhythm, tone, even when you don't notice it. That's how listening works. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is ease. Being able to respond without freezing. Being able to say something simple and keep things moving. That's real progress. So, come back to this kind of English often. Listen while you're doing something else. Let it play in the background. You don't need to study it. You just need to hear it. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for spending this time listening, and I'll see you next time.